All according to plan. Facebook is recruiting all of us to stop fake news and absolving themselves of responsibility in the process. The Hustle, Friday, December 16, 2016. Brought to you by Design Pickle. Facebook's fake news fix. Watch out, Elon. Zuckerberg's got a master plan to stop fake news. Well, a plan at least. Over the past month, pressure has mounted for Facebook to come up with a plan to battle fake stories that dominate their news feed, and yesterday, the company finally unveiled their strategy. It involves a team of full-time mythbusters. Basically, Facebook is asking users to act as vigilantes and report questionable news stories, while its software looks for red flags in articles that are gaining steam. Then, it'll turn it over to 4 partnering news outlets: ABC, Politico, the Associated Press, and, of course, Snopes. It's a veritable journalistic justice league. But never fear, according to The Verge, ABC News president James Goldston will be devoting his entire team of half a dozen journalists who had been fact-checking claims during the 2016 election. So don't worry, people. They've got like 6 guys on this one. Problem solved. But seriously, let's walk through the logic here. You're telling us that a small group of human beings is supposed to physically go through millions of reported posts and remove every piece of questionable content? Here's an idea. How about they just kick everyone off and go back to only letting Ivy League kids use social media? The rest of us obviously can't handle it. Social media. Sensing some sarcasm. Click to comment. The economics profession has lost its way. That's according to renowned economist and Columbia University professor Jeffrey Sachs, who gave a passionate presentation at the London School of Economics this week. He says the problem started centuries ago when economics took values out of the equation, thereby embracing a profoundly flawed model of human nature and human purpose. What exactly does that mean? What's he saying went wrong? Sachs argues that economics has become a field that doesn't know where it's heading because it doesn't know what the good is. To put it another way, he isn't confident that economists properly understand the common good, what benefits all of humanity, and as a result are misguided in what they spend time on and what message they send to the public. Or, in his own words, our problem is we don't even know what we want to do as a society. My profession is pretty useless on this because it spends its time on completely unimportant things and neglects the very important things. It cannot be the most important issue in the world whether the U.S. grows at another 3% or 3.5% or 2.9% a year, when over the last 65 years there's been no discernible rise in well-being and lots of discernible worsening of social well-being. This isn't a new argument, is it? No, not at all. People have been suggesting that economists fail to properly measure well-being for years. Yet, not much has changed thanks to a common belief, made popular by David Double-Chin Hume in the 18th century, that one cannot possibly measure values based on facts. Well, Sachs thinks that's all a bunch of hooey and points to new data on what makes people happy as a reason to take the economics of happiness seriously. It's time, he says, to start weighing mental and physical health more heavily in the overall equation. It's time to reconsider what matters. It's time to start addressing the fundamental values that will help humans flourish, not just the GDP and literacy rate trends that define them. Social media. Can't buy me love. Sky's the limit for Fox. After weathering scandals and questionable leadership, the Murdoch media empire is clawing their way back to the top of the mountain. The family's entertainment business, 21st Century Fox, made a power move this week, bidding $14.1 billion to control UK media company Sky, of which it currently owns 61%. Cue Eye of the Tiger training montage. Just a man and his will to survive. Gather round, kids. Time for a brief history of the Murdochs. Back in the 60s, Rupert Murdoch turned his family's small newspaper into a corporate conglomerate, buying up a slew of broadcast and print media outlets that became News Corporation. And for decades, under the News Corp umbrella, publications like Fox News, The Wall Street Journal, and News of the World flourished. Yeah, about that last one. It doesn't exist anymore. Fast forward to 2011, when the 168-year-old newspaper was forced to stop the presses after being exposed for hacking the phones of crime victims. Things only went downhill from there. Rupert was declared unfit to lead the company, and his son James stepped down as chair of Sky after his decisions were deemed ill-judged. Meanwhile, the internet proved to be a veritable Ivan Drago for newspapers and traditional media. But they've done their time, and they're taking some chances. Last year, the Murdochs began to fight their way back, with James taking over for his father at Fox and reclaiming his position at Sky. They also moved to officially split their struggling newspapers out from under Fox, to the joy of their entertainment investors. Unfortunately, it may not be straight to the top. The TV industry is taking a hit from streaming companies, and Sky is no exception. Their subscriptions are down, and they've lost 19% of their audience in the past year for their typically lucrative football, soccer for the Americans broadcasts. We'll see if Sky is the boost Fox needs to rise to the challenge. Social media. Rocky roads ahead. You lie, DeVry. Yesterday, the U.S. Trade Commission announced a $100 million settlement with DeVry University over a lawsuit claiming they misled prospective students. Apparently, DeVry, one of the most recognizable for-profit schools in the U.S., was touting overly high post-grad employment rates and income levels to attract applicants and, of course, make some moolah. Can we get rid of for-profit education now? Seriously, enough is enough. Just look at this streak we're on. Last November, Education Management Corporation, another for-profit giant, paid $95.5 million to settle charges for enrolling students through illegal means. A few months before that, Corinthian Colleges, a chain of 107 campuses, filed for bankruptcy after being forced to pay $530 million for trapping students into predatory private loans. Then, just this September, ITT Technical Institute shut down after the U.S. Department of Education said they were failing to provide an education and saddling students with debt. And oh yeah, you know that guy we just elected president? He recently paid $25 million to settle multiple cases against Trump University for deceptive advertising. Look, it's pretty simple. When students are viewed more like consumers, their interests are never going to be prioritized, just their wallets. Can we just end the madness already? Social media. G's get degrees. Friday shower thoughts. 1. If I get up 10 minutes earlier than usual, I treat it like 2 extra hours and end up late for work. 2. I really should donate to Wikipedia. 3. It's startling how quickly we've gone from hate a gonna hate to I'm offended, arrest them. 4. Those kids must have been pretty disappointed when they moved up a grade from Miss Frizzle's class. 5. Every time I watch a scene from a movie of 2 people in a car, I always watch the background to see if they're really driving or not. Via Reddit. This edition of The Hustle was brought to you by Design Pickle. I'll know it when I see it, said every CEO ever while working with a design agency. Then 4 revisions and $4,000 over budget later, you finally got yourself a brochure that really pops. Not making that mistake again, right? So this time, you contact your friend's friend from college to Photoshop a flyer. Unfortunately, it turns out more like a Lisa Frank poster, which lands you on a blog for crappy design. Now the cool teens on Reddit are making fun of your company, and it's time for a complete rebrand. Looks like you've got yourself in a bit of a design pickle. Did someone say design pickle? Oh, right, that was us. Design Pickle is the saving grace for strapped creative teams and small businesses who don't want to be cyberbullied. They match each client with one of their full-time professional designers so you get your deliverables on time and Comic Sans free. Plus, their flat monthly rate and unlimited revisions means you won't have a repeat of the brochure budget blowout of 2016. Check it out here for a 40% discount. You might even have enough money left for one of those neat infographics all the cool kids are into. The Hustle. Subscribe, advertise, ambassadors, events. Kendall Victory Lap Baker, writer. Lindsay Quinn, beat reporter. John Havel, editor. Elefano, fact checker. You opted in by signing up, entering a giveaway, or through divine intervention. 1381 9th Avenue, San Francisco, California, 94122 in the United States. 415-506-7210. Never want to hear from us again? Break our hearts and unsubscribe!